Have you ever stopped and wondered where the petrol in your car or the powerful fuel used in airplanes really comes from? Deep beneath the ground, when crude oil is first pulled out, it doesn't look valuable at all. Honestly, it looks more like thick black sludge, and in that raw condition, there's no way it could power a car or fly an aircraft. So how does this dark, messy liquid turn into something as valuable as fuel? Well, the journey is actually incredible. From underground oil fields all the way to your vehicle's fuel tank, crude oil goes through several complex stages. And to be fair, it's one of the most fascinating achievements of modern engineering. Today, we're going to explore how this raw oil is transformed into the fuels we rely on every single day. So, let's dive in. Before we understand how refineries work, we first need to know what crude oil actually is. Crude oil is a natural resource that formed millions of years ago. Back in prehistoric times, tiny sea plants and marine animals died and settled beneath layers of mud and sediment on the ocean floor. Over countless years, extreme heat and pressure underground slowly changed this organic material into oil.
In chemistry, this oil is known as a hydrocarbon because it's mainly made from hydrogen and carbon atoms. But here's the interesting part. Not all crude oil is the same. Some oil is thin and lighter in color, while other types are thick, heavy, and full of sulfur. The refinery's job is to separate and purify useful fuels from these different oil mixtures. Inside crude oil, petrol, diesel, kerosene, and even the material used to build roads are all mixed together. A refinery is basically the place where this giant mixture gets separated into valuable products. When crude oil arrives at a refinery through pipelines or giant tankers, it still isn't ready to be processed. It usually contains salty underground water, sand, and mineral particles. If these impurities stay inside, they can seriously damage pipelines and expensive refinery machines by causing rust and blockages. So the very first step is cleaning the oil. Special systems use strong electric fields to separate water and salt from the crude oil. Once the oil is purified, it moves into one of the refinery's most important sections, the furnace.
Inside this massive heating chamber, crude oil is heated to around 350 to 400 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, the different substances inside the oil begin turning into vapor. It's kind of like boiling water, except every component inside the oil evaporates at a different temperature, and that difference is exactly what makes separation possible. The hot oil vapor is then pushed into a huge structure called a fractional distillation tower. This tower is designed in a clever way. The bottom section stays extremely hot, while the upper part remains much cooler. Inside the tower, there are multiple trays placed at different heights. As the vapor rises upward, heavier substances cool down faster and condense lower in the tower. Lighter substances continue rising higher before cooling and turning back into liquid. This is how petrol, kerosene, and diesel get separated at different levels inside a single tower. At the very top of the tower, the temperature is much cooler. Only the lightest hydrocarbon vapors with very low boiling points reach this section. This is where LPG gas, commonly used for cooking, and petrol for vehicles are collected. Since these fuels evaporate quickly and catch fire easily, maintaining purity, here is extremely important. The petrol collected in this section is refined even further later on to improve its octane quality.
Now, in the middle section of the tower, medium-density fuels start forming as the vapor cools slightly. This is where kerosene, jet fuel, and diesel are separated. Diesel is heavier than petrol, which makes it ideal for buses, trucks, trains, and other heavy vehicles. Jet fuel, on the other hand, needs incredibly precise refining. You know, airplanes fly through freezing temperatures high in the sky, so the fuel must remain stable and not freeze during flight. That's why this section plays such a huge role in the transportation industry. Then comes the bottom section of the distillation tower. This is where the heaviest materials collect because they simply can't vaporize. These leftover substances are known as residues. And interestingly, nothing inside a refinery goes to waste. These thick, sticky materials are used to make lubricating oils and eventually bitumen or asphalt. That same asphalt is what's used to build roads. So in a way, the oil that powers your car also helps create the roads your car drives on.
But even after separation, these fuel products still aren't ready for use. They can contain sulfur and other harmful chemicals that cause serious air pollution and acid rain. So refineries use another important process called hydrotreating to remove sulfur from the fuel. This process is often called sweetening. Along with that, several chemical treatments are done to improve fuel quality and boost octane ratings. These steps help engines perform better while also reducing environmental damage. After refining is complete, every product is stored separately inside massive storage tanks. From there, the distribution process begins. Huge fuel tankers, shipping containers, and underground pipelines stretching hundreds of kilometers transport these fuels to filling stations across different regions and countries. Honestly, this entire refinery system is one of the reasons the modern world keeps moving every day. Now let's talk about the cost behind all of this. Building and operating an oil refinery is unbelievably expensive. A modern refinery costs billions of dollars to construct, but the real challenge is running it. Maintaining giant machines and generating the enormous amount of heat required for refining takes a huge amount of energy and money. On average, refining a single barrel of crude oil, which is about 159 liters, can cost anywhere between $5 and $10, depending on market conditions. And that's not all. Refineries also spend massive amounts on skilled engineers, strict safety systems, and pollution control technologies.
A lot of people also wonder what exactly comes out of 1 barrel of crude oil. Well, from one 159-liter barrel, refineries can produce roughly 70 liters of petrol, 44 liters of diesel, 15 liters of jet fuel, and around 4 liters of LPG gas. The remaining portion is turned into kerosene, lubricants, wax, and asphalt used in road construction. Now, if we talk about which countries produce the most crude oil, the reserves are definitely not spread equally around the world. Countries in the Middle East dominate global oil production. Saudi Arabia is one of the leading producers, while Iraq, the United Arab Emirates, and Kuwait also extract enormous amounts of oil. Interestingly, though, countries like Venezuela actually hold some of the world's largest oil reserves, yet their production rates remain much lower. And the truth is, the more refining power a country has, the stronger its influence becomes in the global energy market.
So, what do you think about this incredible journey of crude oil? Let me know down in the comments, and also tell us which topic you'd like to see in the next episode. Thank you for watching,